Hello, I'm Dr. Tom, and I'd like to welcome you to another Friday update. And what a spectacular week we are having again inside the world of gin. This next weekend, I will inform you that we are having a Super Saturday at Flamig Farm in Connecticut. It's the 26th of September is the actual date, where Julie and Nevin will be hosting this Super Saturday, and Blaine Athorn will be doing some spectacular training on winning and celebrating the win and success and setting yourself up for success, and how you can move your energy in a successful winning environment. So we're very excited for that share, and I will tell you that it will be a spectacular event. I do know that Julie and Nevin are wonderful entertainers, and this will be a do not miss kind of event. And they're even having some entertainment that evening that's kind of a special bonus throw in. It will be at their farm. If it is at all physically possible for you to be there this next weekend on the 26th. The next upcoming thing we have is a Gin Midwest Adventure with Josh, Novey and David Krueger. I believe it is on October the 8th to the 11th. It will be in Indiana. It is a small, intimate group, spending the time together with your gin brothers and sisters. Again, it will be a life-changing, wonderful adventure for you to join those upper-level members. Next, we will have the Successful Life Experience going on in Florida, where Tom and Emily Ward will be sharing with you, and Earlene Vining will be sharing with you. And I'm hearing rumors that there may be a guest in the house by the name of Ed Foreman. Just a hint that I'm hearing. Anyway, that will be a spectacular event as well in St. Augustine. There is actually a way for you to get an updated message from Tom Ward in the copy of this email. When you finish this, go back and click on that link and hear some of the words of wisdom from Tom Ward. I want to remind you that in February, we do have our next major event, the Global Family Reunion, coming up in Las Vegas at the Mirage, and there will be hundreds of gin members, gin brothers and sisters, who, for many of you who are brand new, this will be a life-changing event. For many of you who are in the club for a long time, it can be a life-changing event as well. The beauty of getting this group together, of spending time, of physically seeing and interacting and sharing the wins and telling the stories, and you know, it's just such an enlightening environment when you can be with people who just can tell you in all of their authenticity what's happened to them, what's happened for them since they became a member of Gin. Whether they're in level 1, whether they've been in for 30 days, whether they're a level 7, whether they're a level 5, the steps and the ways in which they can explain in their very own words their experiences that have happened, the shifts that have occurred in their life, the things that came to them from off the radar, things that they had no idea were even possible. They were beyond their wildest dreams. These are the kinds of things you will hear and you will experience. They're so moving, that they're so bold and they're so extravagant in what happened to these people, that your first thought is, this can't be real. And then you get to know them and you find out this is real. It is real. This is what happens. You see, if you were going to make these things up, you wouldn't be so bold as to make up some of the stories and things that have happened, and the lives that have changed, and the depth of those lives, and the legacies that have changed as a result of studying the Success Mastery course. It's true. It's what happens, and it can happen for you, and it will happen for you when you get Gin inside of you. When you understand these principles, when you study them, when you go over them and over them, when you repeat the lessons that happen in the course, it's a wonderful, wonderful experience, and we look forward to sharing that with you. And we're proud and honored to see you there. And the registrations are happening. This is going to happen in February in Las Vegas, Nevada. I also wanted to remind you of the youth program that is available free for all members, for all dues-paying members. You have access to this. And it is such a perfect time because so many children are now at home. They're doing virtual learning. Maybe their schools are closed, or maybe they're in quarantine. Or the point is, people are so much more used to, they've become acclimated to virtual learning. We've been doing this for years, for over a decade. The reality is that now the world is catching up and understands that you can get this message. You can learn online. And while these children are at home and while they're in front of a computer, rather than having them to go play games or to watch videos and do the things that they're becoming trained to do, have them begin to study the youth program. There are lessons there, there are Gen principles there, that if we can start the youth of the world on these principles, just imagine where the adults of the world will be a generation from now, where they'll be a decade from now. What if you had known the principles that you've learned since you joined this club when you were 10 or 12 or 15? Think of maybe the career choices or the people choices you would have made. Think of the ways in which your life could have been altered, where you could have started dreaming earlier. It's never too early to begin to dream. It's never too early to begin to dream. And it's never too late to accomplish a dream. I will tell you that we have some tremendous and amazing leaders inside this club. And the virtual chapter meetings that have just been released in this month, in this unit of time, is a project that I know Sekou and Earlene and many of you have been working on for some time, years actually, to be able to get things to where it could happen, and that has happened. And these virtual chapter meetings are such a great structured meetings. I've been able to watch several of them, and I will tell you that there are great lessons, there are great tips and tidbits of information that these upper level Gen members are willing to share with you. And I wanted to do a shout out to them, and at the risk of leaving someone out, because that's a challenge that you can have when you begin to name people. But I wanted to do a shout out to Earlene and to Claudia and to Sharina, and because in particular, these three ladies have agreed to do these meetings in different languages, which expands our base and expands our ability to reach more lives and to touch more people and to change more families. And so they will be available in French, they'll be available in German, they'll be available in Spanish. And so congratulations, and again, thank you from all of us inside of Gen for your ability to share and your ability to learn and your willingness to accept change of how these meetings have been presented, because in person has been a challenge over the last several months. And again, a shout out to Sekou and to David and to Sue and to Fabio and to Paul and Jason and Heather and Joanne. Thank you from the bottom of the Gen team for what you've done to step forward and to be able to give this information, to share it with our club. You see, I touched on that willingness to learn, the willingness to accept change, and it is so important because this is just a classic example of applying the training. In order to do virtual meetings, these members had to step forward. They had to learn some new skills. They had to learn how to do Zoom meetings. It's different to attend a meeting where you just click on it and show up, and to be able to coach people through it. And you see, through that, they grow. Everyone grows. To be able to tell people how to mute and to unmute, and to be able to speak up, and you learn how to do sign language and different things on the fly, if you will, so that these things become smoother and smoother and smoother as we progress. That willingness to learn a new task, to learn a new way in which we can communicate with the world. And the willingness to accept that change, because change has happened for everyone. Some aspect of your life is different than it was a year ago. And the beauty of that is, how did you adapt to that? How did you respond to that? How did you utilize your training when you were in a new circumstance, in a new situation? And how did you react? And how did you respond? And what new course did you set yourself on? What did you learn from it so that you can change maybe the way that you got into a circumstance, or the way that you choose to get out of a circumstance? How did you apply the training, and how did you celebrate your wins, and how did you make a decision to move forward, to move past some of the pettiness that's happening in the world? Because it truly is simply that. It's kind of silly and kind of goofy when you just boil it down? Are these really life-changing conversations that people are so emotionally engaged in? Or are they not? You see, things are simple or hard. The choice is up to you. How you respond and how you react and how you think and how you feel and how you pause and how you allow things to affect you and impact you is completely up to you. Thus is the beauty of the Success Mastery course. I will tell you that and share with you that these members didn't shy away from this challenge. They accepted the challenge and decided to share instead of be shy. And by sharing the format, the learning, you see, these events are so powerful because someone will say something that triggers something for you, that reminds you of something you learned at a particular time in a given moment, in a way in which you could apply that in the future, whether it's applying it in a relationship or whether it's applying it in your business acumen, whether it's applying in your financial world, whether it's applying it to you internally, spiritually. Have you learned to lower your shoulders and take a deep breath and to be calm, regardless of the circumstance? Have you learned how to do that? I hope so, because it's out there for you. It's out there for all of us. It reminded me of you know, the famous JFK quote about ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? And these members have stepped up in Jen, not asking what Jen could do for them, but what could they do for Jen? What could they do to impact the lives of people that they may never meet halfway across the world, halfway across the planet on a different continent, maybe in a language that's not your first language? How can we help them? How can we make the capable, how can we allow the capable to become more capable? And they stepped up and did this. And so when you see them in Vegas, be sure and acknowledge that. Be sure and recognize that, because recognition is such an integral part of what happens in the world of Jen. And so that's why today I wanted to recognize those people, and to recognize the leadership that we have inside of this club, and to recognize what happens as you evolve personally and professionally inside the Global Information Network because of the training of the Success Mastery course, because of the way in which it's laid out from a beginning, from an engagement to allow you, if you will, if you so choose, to apply those principles at the different steps of your life will change. And sometimes we move away, and sometimes we think, well, you know, I'm not doing as much of that. And then we get back into it and we ask ourselves the question of why? Why did I ever look away? Why did I ever go on pause? And we understand, we don't judge inside this company. We understand that life happens right in the middle of everything. And it rarely goes according to the exact map that you had, yet you begin to realize that it's on a perfect course. And that as that course unfolds, you can look back and say the things that I thought were a challenge were actually a very good thing. That had they not have happened, I probably wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met someone who introduced me to someone who shared the Your Wish is Your Command material with me, and I would never have been in Jen. It's a long and winding road and an incredible weave that happens in life as we move forward. And so I guess my question or my ask of you is, you know, are you willing to share? Do you have a skill? Do you have a translation ability to go into a different language? And is that something that you would be willing to share? And are you willing to volunteer at events to show up and to say, hey, I'm here and I'll help. What can I do? Those are the things, those are the attributes that allow you to grow. And you can ask anyone who's ever volunteered at an event if they enjoyed that, and I can assure you their answer will be yes, because the smiles on their faces are genuine, they're authentic, because they're meeting new people from all over the planet, and they're learning about different cultures, and they're happy to share their experience with those people so that we can all move forward on this journey. And so, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to accept change as it comes about in your life? Because change happens, and change is ahead of you, and change is behind you. And so, how did you respond, and how did you react? So, are you willing to take control of your life and take control of your destiny? Are you willing to update and upgrade your life so that you can, in fact, experience your best life ever? I hope so. That's our goal, that's our desire, that's our purpose inside the world of the Global Information Network, and we're so very happy to share that with you. I'm Dr. Tom Morter. I'll talk to you next week. Have a great one.